football beginning this season is with us now. It is former Baylor linebacker, former NFL player, Geff Gandy is with us. Geff, you're looking good this morning. Welcome to it.
Well, it's always nice on a Monday morning to be complimented like that. Thank you, John. Good morning to you too, sir.
We're excited about the prospects, and you've got some experience that sort of helped, leading into this. You've been working with Texas State the last few years.
I have. I've spent the last 6 seasons as a color analyst at Texas State working with Learfield Properties, and Clint Shields was the play-by-play guy. And it was a great opportunity to move up from the high school, calling high school games to get into the college ranks. And I thought that was a great opportunity. And, met a lot of good people there. There's a lot of great coaches and players that went through Texas State. And I had the privilege and the honor to represent them on and off the field. So it was a great experience for me. But man, when you call and said, hey, I think Baylor's got an opportunity for you, and if it's offered, will you take it? I go, absolutely. It's good to come back home.
Yeah, it is back home for you, isn't it?
It really is. For Nancy, my wife and I too. I mean, I met Nancy back in 1985, and she was a student there, and I came back after being cut by the Indianapolis Colts, and I was picking up a few extra hours just to graduate. And I met Nancy. And so the Lord knew what was best for Geff Gandy, that's for sure. Get cut from the Colts and come back to the campus. And I remember going to see Coach Taff, and he said, Geff, I promised your parents that you're going to graduate. So if you need help getting back in school, let me know. But I need to pick up those 9 hours and graduate. So that's what I did. But I ended up getting a wife instead. And so that's awesome.
A degree also, the wife and the degree.
That's right.
That's great. And I feel bad for Clint. I know Clint, who does Texas State, and does a great job, and you guys have done a great job the last few years. I feel like we're kind of stealing you away from him, but I think Clint understands, doesn't he?
He totally understands. Clint's a alumni of Texas Tech, and we always told each other years ago, I said, you know what, if your alma mater calls, you've got to take it. And I'd be mad. I'm upset with you, but I'm happy for you at the same time. And I said, I feel the same way. If Tech gave you a call, I'd be losing a good guy and a friend, but I'm happy for you. So he's happy that I have this opportunity, and definitely looking forward to it.
Very cool. That's great. We thank Clint for understanding there. It's fun as you and I, we've stayed connected, but really connected because Baylor's played Texas State several times the last few years.
Right. Yeah, it was a 3-1. Well, it was a 2-1. 2 times in Waco and once in San Marcos. So I think the first game was in San Marcos back in 21, I believe it was, and then the last game was in 23, and that was I got to admit, that was a very memorable game for me. Texas State got beat, obviously. Well, the last game, the Texas State actually won, but the game before then, I was honored as a legend on the field between first and second quarter. So it has a special meaning for me to be able to be. I was in the Texas State broadcast booth with a Texas State polo shirt on, and then run downstairs and put a Baylor polo on, and then be representative in the middle of the field, and then come back up in the booth and call the rest of the game. It was kind of a weird feeling, to be honest with you.
That's fun.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that was fun. You did keep the Baylor polo on the rest of the game, though, when you came back upstairs.
I did. And Clint did not mind it one bit. He goes, congratulations. And you can keep the Baylor polo on the rest of the game. And I was going to do it anyway. It didn't matter to me.
The legend of the game. What was that? That had to be fun for you. I mean, doing the games for Texas State, even though you're in the visitors booth, being back in Waco, doing the games here.
Yeah, I want to say it's kind of it was a weird feeling. I felt like I should be calling the Baylor game for the Bears, but I had a job to do, and so you just stay focused on the Bobcats during that time. And I think that last game, the Bobcats kind of snuck up on the Bears and upset you guys in the opening game of the season, and that kind of paved the way for a successful year for the Bobcats. But Yeah, it's just hard whenever you have to call for make a call or a game for the opponent and of the alma mater. It's just kind of a weird feeling. And it was cool coming back to McLean Stadium and going up in the booth and seeing you guys and talking with you prior to the game and during halftime. But it's just not the same. It's just not the same when you have to call for the other school.
Is this something, broadcasting, something you always had an interest in? Because you did the work. You did high school games for a while, and then
I did.
Texas State for 6 years. Broadcasting was always something you wanted to do as sort of a second or third career?
It's a great question, John. What really I have to give my wife Nancy a lot of credit because long ago when we just got married, we had two kids, and they were both little. Matt and Garrett were little. I kind of had that itch about talking about maybe getting into coaching. And I went to talk to Coach Taff again about those prospects and talked to Coach, remember Bill Hicks? I talked to him exclusively about it as well. And he said, well, let me know. I can help line you up with a grad assistant position. But then I started thinking, I just didn't want to be looking for the next job every 2 to 3 years and jumping around. And that's the coaching life.
Right.
So Nancy came up with the idea. I said, why don't you just start calling games on the radio for high school? High schools in the Dallas area, they're all on the radio. So back then we had the yellow pages, we didn't have cell phones or anything. So I started making some phone calls and landed in Terrell, Texas, east of Dallas. And I called the Terrell Tigers and the Rockwall Yellow Jackets for years. And it was a lot of fun, but it was broadcasting 101 in the raw. I mean, it was like you get a landline and hook it up and try to see if it connects and if you get anything and respond. And sometimes we're even sitting up in the stands. I mean, that's kind of the way it was. But that's how it all began. And periodically throughout the years, I still did some high school football. When we ultimately relocated, I was promoted and relocated to San Antonio. I started doing Northeast Independent School District, and then ultimately with Bo Wick Productions with Smithson Valley. And the last 4 to 5 years I spent with Smithson Valley and Comel ISD. And I did some playoff games with Brant Freeman and Bill Colhane, which I think Bill was your color guy there for a while back against, was it Jim Reedy's? Was it Reedy's time as head coach? Did he work with you, I think?
No, we've never worked together. I mean, I've known him cross paths with Bill, but never worked together.
I thought maybe y'all worked together back in the 90s sometime.
Yeah.
But they opened the door with Texas State because they were the voice of the Bobcats back then. And so the color analyst position became open. They said, hey, I've worked with this guy and for Smithson Valley for many, many years. His name's Geff Gandy. He's a Baylor Bear, but it's no big deal. We'll take anybody that we can get, I think. And so they offered me the job, and I've been doing it for the last 6 seasons, and it's been a great experience to learn how to call a college football game. And it's great exposure, and it's been a great opportunity for me.
Very cool. And you and Clint have done a great job doing that. Well, think back to your days playing at Baylor. You were part of some pretty good teams. You were part of some really good linebacking core during that time also, weren't you?
I was very blessed and fortunate to be there at the right place at the right time. I was recruited by all the Southwest Conference schools, but for some reason, Baylor was the best fit for me. And Corky Nelson had a lot to do with that and recruiting me in the San Antonio area. And of course, meeting Coach Taff and getting to know some of the players like Doak Field. He was my host. Whenever I'd come to Baylor on recruiting trips or weekend trips, he was a great host, shall I say. He and his girlfriend, Mary, took good care of us. And Mike Singletary, Lester Ward, Doak Field, Steve Ronaldo, and then you had Keith Walter with me, John Bright, Kevin Hancock. He was a little bit younger than me, but we all were in there kind of at the same time, and a lot of good athletes. And I was just fortunate enough to be that guy to step into Mike Singletary's shoes when he left to go to the Chicago Bears. I'll never forget. Coach Taft called me in his office. He said, "Well, we have a surprise." I go, "What is it, Coach?" He goes, "Well, we're going to move you from Sam linebacker to middle linebacker. You get to be the one to replace a Baylor legend, Mike Singletary." And I go, "Well, thanks a lot, Coach Taft." I
All
mean,
right.
Mike set the bar real low for me to step right in there and
That's
try to
why.
fill his shoes. And of course, you can't do that, but to have a chance to work and play alongside those kind of guys, and Coach Nelson and Coach Goodner were the linebacker coach, and it was just a real blessing. And I owe everything that I ever became, as far as on the field and some off the field, to those guys.
How about that? That's great.
Yeah.
That's good reminiscing. It's just a shame that Corky Nelson never could get fired up and never could get you guys, right? You had to self-motivate under Corky Nelson.
We cannot repeat how Corky communicated with the players on this podcast. And there's no way, but he had one way of coaching, and it was all or none, and it was in your face, and it was physical. But you know what? He's also that coach that when you're off the field, he's the first one to put his arm around you and check and see, how are you doing? How's your mom and dad? How's your girlfriend? How are things off the field? He was the first one to do that. So that meant a lot to me as well, because I felt like he had your best interest in hand.
Wow. And you mentioned John Goodner's name, the late John Goodner,
Right.
Just one of the best coaching minds, wasn't he? I mean, that I've ever known.
Yeah, and he was the one filling in Corky's shoes. I had him as my linebacker coach my senior year.
Okay.
And he gave no bones about it. I'm not here to replace your coach you've had for 3 years or the coordinator. I'm here to just help you be as successful as you can possibly be. And that was his attitude. And he was very smart, X's and O's, and helped you get in a position to make plays, no matter what it was, and to think more about the game mentally instead of just the physical aspect of it. So I thought he was an excellent teacher of the game of football.
Yeah, I agree. Well, final question. What are you most looking forward to? We're going to kick it off on September 5th in Atlanta against Auburn. That'll be fun. You'll be in the booth there, and Bryson Jackson will be on the sidelines for us. What are you most looking forward to coming into this role?
Well, I tell you, just to be a part, I'm just a small part of the whole production team and the sports radio team. And you know what? I just want to compliment you and be a compliment in the booth for you, John, because you're the driver of the car. And what I do is I try to add a little bit of element to the play or after the play, and so that the listener feels like they get a really good picture of what's going on the field, what's going on with the Bears. So my role is to enhance you, and I'm looking forward to be able to do that. And I know that's hard to do because you're award-winning broadcaster. So, but to add an element that perhaps the listener can understand and get a better picture of what's going on the field, that's my role.
That's good. It's going to be a good team. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it. And working with Bryson, getting to meet him last week. Tell you, and I think, being younger than obviously I am, and playing for under Aranda, he's going to bring an element that perhaps you and we can't see it. We don't understand it. And so I'm really looking forward to working with him, and of course with you in the booth. And there's no better way to start the year off than playing one of the old blue bloods of the Southeast Conference in the heart of the South, and that's Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, if you can't get fired up for that, there's something wrong with you.
It's a great way to wrap things up. I'm excited about it already. We got a little time between now and September 5th. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you on the crew with us, and I look forward to working with you. And thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, John. Have a great day.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks very much. Geoff Gandy, you'll hear him on the Baylor broadcast this year for Baylor.